Meeting will come to order, please. The press and the Down Beach Current were notified of this meeting. A copy of the same was posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building and on the municipal website. Would you please stand for the flag salute? Attention salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Rosie, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Becker?
Here.
Ms. Taube? Here. And Mr. Blumberg?
Here.
Once again, we have a pleasant thing to do. We're going to swear in another nice lady. Come on up, Linda. Come on up there.
Is this all in this family? Yeah, look at that. There's the countless Let you guys not up there? Guess Mike's gonna do it.
I hope I don't hyperventilate.
Huh?
I don't hyperventilate. Okay.
Repeat after me, please.
Okay.
I, Linda Morgan,
I, Linda Morgan,
do solemnly swear and affirm
do solemnly
of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith
and that I will bear true faith
governments established
and to the governments established
in the
in the United States
and in this state
and in this state
under the authority of the people,
solemnly swear and affirm
that I will impartially and justly perform all the duties of tax collector
according to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Congratulations. Get over here, Warren. I want a big hug.
Horse good?
I'm gonna go through everyone and like try to get it done so it's done tonight. Here's one more. I think you're the one to sign. Hey, Linda, I would just like to say before you leave, and I can say this to everybody, that because Tom is not here, we are very, very blessed and very, very lucky to have Linda in this position, and the city will not miss a beat. So thank you very much for taking the job.
She's crying.
That's good work, guys. Ready?
It's the minutes of the 18th. I did make that correction. Not the 20th.
Say that again?
We're approving the minutes of the 18th, not the 20th. Got to talk to my deputy.
Are you, moving on. We have before us the minutes of our meetings on December 18th. Are there any additions or corrections?
I'll make a motion, we approve those minutes.
I'll second.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Ms. Taube?
Yes.
And Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
We will open to public comment. You have 3 minutes on any subject.
Mike, get
Steve Altman, 9003 Amherst Avenue, Margate. I wish you all a happy and healthy new year. And to start off the year right, I have my two personal favorites. One, this room and its acoustics, and how I urge you, really, talk to, is it Mr. Greenberg, who is the gentleman in charge of emergency management?
Correct.
Am I correct?
You're correct.
I urge you to invite Mr. Greenberg to come in and sit back here, listen to the sound system, and get his opinion on whether, if we had an emergency and had to use this room for people sleeping here, what have you, and it will be noisy. In fact, we could probably get everybody to make some noise for Mr. Greenberg and let him try to make an announcement in that environment, and you're going to find out that for like $3,000, you can get baffles or tapestries hanging in here that won't interfere with anything and make the acoustics a lot better. So that's number one on my agenda for the year. I highly recommend you give that a shot. Number two, my favorite, 14 years now, almost 15 years, beach block parking. I urge you guys to sincerely consider one of the 7 different proposals I've made over this time. And I even urge you to take and try one of those proposals and put a time limit on it, so you can try it out for, let's say, a year or 2, and then it has to be re-voted on before it becomes permanent in that ordinance book. And I suggest what you do is start out by considering just crunching the hours of restriction in the beach block. Make it, say, 11 to 3, where you can't park on the beach, allowing older people to get down in the morning or get down in the afternoon, and they can take sun without getting some sort of facial cancer. It also will make available parking on Ventnor Avenue and Atlantic Avenue, because it'll siphon off some parking during the morning and the afternoon, helping the merchants on Ventnor Avenue at both ends of the city. So those are my 2 favorite proposals to you in the new year. I urge you, even though it's an election year, to consider spending a little bit of money on signs and the acoustics in this room. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Sewell, 22 West Drive. We won't discuss mundane matters, egg carton baffles and Mother Altman climbing the dunes, but instead we'll focus on more serious issues and not balloons by chance. I call for a reactivation of the Ethics Board, Ethics Committee, streamlining it with 3 retired judges who would be able to more easily communicate via email and Skype for their meetings, informally but yet formal when they're called upon, and initially have them appointed for 4 years and then have them run for re-election on the commission election years, which would be 2019. Number 2, I sent out 3 emails this week to both commissioners and to City Administrator Deeney, outlining 3 proposals. Once again, first and foremost is a ban, a prohibition on all nepotism and patronage, as well as a ban and prohibition on all pay-to-play, including services in kind. Had this ordinance been on the book, with a little more due diligence perhaps by some of the city officials, we could have saved $647,000 and perhaps made the solicitor $13,000 poorer in the process. Second, require the mayor to no longer be able to vote or appoint school board members. Instead, I would strongly urge that there be 5 appointees selected by the mayor and the mayor alone for consideration by the other 2 commissioners. If the 2 other commissioners cannot come to a yes on one of those 5 candidates that the mayor puts forth, then the mayor would be obligated to put another 5 candidates forth. But he must abstain. He cannot engage in conflicts of interest. As I pointed out to Mr. Deeney earlier today, self-interest invariably constitutes conflict of interest. We cannot have conflicts of interest. I've wasted valuable time pursuing this particular matter. I don't want to waste my time and energies doing this. It should be clear that conflicts of interest, self-interest, are prohibited. That ordinance that I just mentioned before would do that. We wouldn't have to beat around the bush. Last but not least, I request that the mayor step down from public safety as a blatant, patent conflict of interest. We cannot have this. It's bad for the morale of the departments. And I was not going to raise the issue with the chief on the 4 o'clock session. But I will. But I will discuss that particular issue 2 weeks hence, as well as the assertion made by John Path in his suit with the county prosecutor, wherein Mr. Path alleges that there's not a scintilla of written evidence that surely should be there. You know, civil service requires it. The head of public safety should demand it. And why it was never brought forth, I cannot explain. But this is a rather pertinent thing. The mayor cannot be on public safety when there is a clear conflict of interest. Either the solicitor or the city administrator must drive this point home to the mayor. You know, I don't care if the mayor is devoid of a moral compass, but at least we have to conform to the basic necessities of no conflict of interest. Thank you very much.
Anyone else? Is there a motion to close public comment?
I'll make a motion that we close public comment.
Second.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Ms. Tarvey?
Yes.
Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
We will open public comment on resolutions and second reading of ordinances.
Sewell, 22 West Drive. Not to be a nitpicker, Rosie, but can we see the typo in resolution number 07?
No.
I'm glad you don't, because I do. Mr. Deeney, how about you enlighten Rosie about the typo? It's not a 3-year agreement, it's a 2-year agreement. All right?
It says 2 years. On our copy, it says 2 years.
I know.
Oh, I have
But the term 1/1/14 through 12/31/16 would be 3 years in my book, unless you're on the Julian calendar, in which case it would be 13 days short. But we're on the Gregorian calendar, and that constitutes 3 years. Don't worry about that too much.
Correction noted, and thank you for bringing it up at this meeting here.
We're keeping you on your toes.
Clearly,
There's going to be no slack.
Clearly.
No slack given.
So it's 2 years, John, right?
That is correct.
Starting in 1/1/50.
That is correct. I'll tell you, geriatric diminishment of the mental capacity is not shown yet, unlike some people sitting here. I didn't mention no names, any names, okay? And as I had brought up before, '04 resolution, '04, I once again plead with this commission to cease and desist from usurious interest rates. The interest rates are 18% per annum. It's outrageous when the prime rate is presently less than 1/4% to be gouging people who are down on their luck. 18% is unconscionable. I therefore suggest, as a goodwill gesture in this good new year, that it be reduced to 1 1/4% per month working out to a per annum of, Mr. Deeney, don't fail us a first time. That's correct.
He's no help.
Last but not least, Mr. Deeney, Resolution 08, that's you. I have no objections, save for one. We cannot continue to squander $647,000 because city officials want to frequent with unscrupulous, unethical
15 seconds, John.
individuals and firms on the other side of the Longport Bridge. And I still want to see that accountancy firm given the boot yesterday. Thank you.
Anyone else? Resolutions and second readings of ordinances. Is there a motion to, is there a motion to close public comment?
I'll
make that
that we- I was waiting for, go ahead, Maury. I'll make a motion, we close public comment.
Second.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Ms. Taube?
Yes.
Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
Go, Rosie, go.
This is the second reading of ordinance number 35, vehicles and traffic allowing a 15-minute time parking at 7800 Ventnor Avenue.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Ms. Taube?
Yes.
And Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
Now we have ordinance number 1 of 2015, which is amending the land use ordinance regarding the pool setbacks, as Roger explained earlier. This is the first reading with the second reading and public hearing scheduled for...
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Ms. Taube?
Yes.
And Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
Resolution number 1 is approving the 2015 temporary budget.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
Ms. Taube?
Yes.
Number 2 is authorizing payment of claims and payroll.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
Ms. Taube?
Yes.
Number 3 is authorizing payment to Colmar Home Center in the amount of $473.88.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Ms. Taube?
Yes.
And Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
Number 4 is authorizing a tax lien redemption in the amount of $56,276.53.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Ms. Taube?
Yes.
And Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
Number 5 authorizes refunds from the 2014 tax sale.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Ms. Taube?
Yes.
And Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
Number 6 authorizes a cash management plan.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Ms. Taube?
Yes.
And Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
Number 7 approves and adopts the terms and conditions for the professional and management employees for a 2-year agreement beginning January of 2015 through December of 2016.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Ms. Taube?
Yes.
And Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
Number,
Should we make that,
thank
should we
you.
make that 3 now?
Was it 3 or 2?
Whatever it is.
Yeah. Number 8 is authorizing an extension of the contract with JPM to retain Rich Deeney as temporary administrator.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Ms. Taube?
Happily, yes.
And Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
Number 9, canceling tax balances under the amount of $10.
I'll make the motion.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
Ms. Taube?
Yes.
Number 10, authorizes the extension of a contract with T&M Associates for a term of 1 year.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Ms. Taube?
Yes.
And Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
Number 11, authorizes the assessor to file petitions in cases of errors.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Ms. Taube?
Yes.
And Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
Number 12, authorizes the 2015 Municipal Alliance Grant.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second the motion.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Ms. Taube?
Yes.
And Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
Number 13, we are going to reappoint Joe Syag for a 1-year term as prosecutor.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Ms. Taube?
Yes.
And Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
Number 14, reappoints Carl Trippischen for a 1-year term as a conflict prosecutor.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Ms. Taube?
Yes.
And Mr. Blumberg.
Yes.
Number 15, reappoints Jim Swift for one-year term as public defender.
I'll make the motion.
Second?
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Ms. Taube?
Yes.
And Mr. Blumberg.
Yes.
Number 16, reappoints Darren Lord for one-year term as conflict public defender.
I'll make the motion.
Second?
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Ms. Taube?
Yes.
And Mr. Blumberg.
Yes.
Number 17, authorizes entering into a cooperative pricing agreement with the City of Margate City, City of Ocean City, I'm sorry.
I'll make the motion.
Second?
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Ms. Taube?
Yes.
And Mr. Blumberg.
Yes.
And number 18 is authorizing an executive session to discuss personnel matter regarding the city clerk's position.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Ms. Taube?
Yes.
And Mr. Blumberg.
Yes.
All right, for the public, we are going into executive session, obviously. Shouldn't be too long, I don't think, but you're certainly welcome to wait. You're not able to do that in this room, as we all know. And we will inform you what we talked about at some future date.
Mike, here's the last one. You're going to consider it. Okay, you're back on.
It is 6:23. We need a motion to come out of executive session.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Ms. Taube?
Yes.
Mr. Blumberg.
Yes.
Now, we need another motion to reconvene our public meeting.
I'll make a motion that we reconvene our public meeting.
I'll second that.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Ms. Taube?
Yes.
And Mr. Blumberg.
Yes.
Rich, you want to do the comments on?
The purpose of the executive session was to discuss personnel as it relates to the vacancies that have been created by the retirement of Tom Hiltner, who held 4 positions within the city of Margate. The first of those positions was personnel officer, and we discussed the role of the administrator and the fact that the administrator would assume on an interim basis the role of personnel director until such time as it may be formalized in the future to include on a permanent basis the personnel functions to be a responsibility of the administrator. The second position he held was purchasing, a qualified purchasing agent. The recommendation from the administration, the administrator, and the staff is that we continue to work together as a staff in a decentralized function, much like we have in the past, and that the staff will make a recommendation through the administrator to the commissioners within the next 30 days regarding an interim purchasing director according to the statutes. That particular position is not required by the statutes, but if you do have that position, it has to be appointed according to the statutes. The third position that Tom held was tax collector, and we discussed the fact that that everyone knows that we have appointed our former deputy tax collector to be the tax collector, and that there are no other formal staff positions in that office which once held 4 people. And we talked about eventually over time getting a succession plan and getting people trained properly so that one could assume the role of deputy tax collector in the future. The last position was city clerk, and everyone knows we've appointed the former deputy clerk as city clerk. We discussed in her presence what options she has and the desire of those present, including the administrator and the commissioners,
to see that, to offer her an opportunity to extend her time with Margate and to give her a chance to decide exactly when her plans would be to retire so that we can have an orderly succession plan for the position of clerk as well. And the present city clerk will advise the commission shortly of an exact date for her retirement, and she will consider extending that date like she has once done before. When she extended it from December 1st to February 1st, she will consider extending it from February 1st until June 1st. I believe that's accurate.
Keep it. Thank you, Rich. Seeing as we're in session again, those two items that were added to the agenda were forgotten, so we need a motion to reject the bids for the television of the sewer system.
I'll make a motion that we reject those bids.
I'll second it.
Mr. Becker?
Yes,
Ms. Taube?
Yes.
And Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
and we also need a motion to rebid.
Authorize the rebidding of that same
That's correct.
project.
I'll make a
make-
motion that we rebid that
Second.
exact same project.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Ms. Taube?
Yes.
And Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
We need a motion to adjourn this meeting.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Mr. Becker?
Yes,
Ms. Taube?
Yes.
And Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
and thank you all for being here.